It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NBA.
Pick and roll with Reed and Alpe has been absolute money. And there those two go again, Matt.
There it is. Reed to the trailer for Alpe. Laying in with one and a foul. Alpe's got it across the middle of the floor. Free throw line. Turns. 360 move. Layup. Down the lane. Basket. And one. And a muscle flex as the Rockets lead is up to 20. Castle will inbound. Lobs it to Wembanyama and a two-hand slam. The defense parted. I don't know how that happens on the switch. And it was an easy inbound to Victor. And he's got 21 now.
The Houston Rockets avoid the sweep. They beat the Lakers 115-96, blowout win, and they're crediting Alvin Sengun's pregame speech. But, PK, that looked like a Laker team that knew they were up 3-0 and didn't bring the same level of desperation. Why would they? They're up 3-0. They're not very desperate.
No, they're not. I expect them to win the series if Kevin Durant does not play. The Rockets without Durant, they're just not as good as they would be with him. How about that?
There is that, yep. They did lose with him also, so no guarantees. The hole is so massive now, but maybe if he comes back, there could be some kind of miracle.
Wouldn't count on it.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I think the Lakers are going to do it. The series that is got everybody's eye now, what is going to happen, because a lot of them look pretty predictable, but the Cavaliers did lose the second game in Toronto, 93-89. Toronto shot the ball poorly. Cleveland shot the ball poorly, but somebody had to win, PK, even though they just could not get shots to go.
That's playoff basketball. I mean, there's no sport that's much more different in the regular season compared to the playoffs. I mean, it was like 38-33 or something at halftime. I mean, something like that. Just the intensity picks up and the shots become more difficult. The pressure becomes heightened. I mean, this is a big, big deal for these teams. I don't consider either of these teams a threat to win at all, but you know they believe they have a shot to go far, and stakes are on the line there. That was an entertaining game. I didn't watch all of it. I watched the fourth quarter.
In the fourth quarter, they finally started scoring. That was easily the highest score.
Yeah,
it's like
Mitchell
you said, that first half was so
14.
low scoring. The fourth quarter almost matched it in one quarter.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a fun quarter. It was fun fourth quarter for me. Merrill hit a couple of big shots. Mitchell got it cooking. But Toronto just had enough.
The Trailblazers couldn't do anything wrong in the second quarter. Went on a big old 13-0 run, led by 17. The place was going wild. San Antonio was way down. And then completely different game in the second half. San Antonio could do no wrong. Portland could do nothing right. And San Antonio came from 17 down to win by 21, 114-93. A 73-35 second half for the Spurs, and they're now up 3-1 on Portland.
How do you know the place is going wild? You weren't watching.
I was watching. Absolutely was watching.
Oh, I thought you would have been depressed.
Why would I have been depressed?
Your team lost.
What team?
Oh, yeah, right. Good call. Good call. You're the only play-by-play guy who says what team. Everybody else says me, my, I, we, and you act like you don't care. Keep up the facade. Sooner or later, somebody's going to believe it besides yourself.
What did you do to the time-space continuum? This game was Sunday afternoon. The RSL hadn't even played yet.
I know, but you got to get prepared for it, man.
The Celtics beat the Sixers 128-96. A Celtic lead that has now grown to 3-1. They're on the verge of closing that thing out. 3 more games coming up tonight. The Thunder trying to sweep the Suns. The Orlando's up 2-1 on the Pistons. And then you got Minnesota, who's up 3-1 on Denver, but 2 massive injuries there. Dante DiVincenzo goes down, torn Achilles. He's all done. And then their star after that, Anthony Edwards, hyperextends his knee. The good news is no ACL, no ligament damage, but there is a bone bruise and other damage, and so he is out weeks. However many that is. They didn't specify whether it be 2, 4, 6, whatever, but he's apparently out for this series, and they got to beat the Nuggets one more time without those 2 guys.
Yeah, wish him luck.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag NFL.
NFL draft wraps up. BYU's Jack Kelly goes in the 6th round. Carson Ryan in the 7th. Jack Kelly goes to the Giants. Carson Ryan to the Browns. And then Dallin Bentley, Ute tight end, goes 8 picks after Carson Ryan. The Ute goes to Denver, where they seem to like University of Utah players. They keep collecting former Utes. So in the end, we have 5 guys from the state drafted, and then, of course, a lot of guys sign as free agents, and we'll see how it works out for them.
Yeah, it's funny that the Cougars had 6 guys, free agents. 3 signed with the Raiders and 3 signed with the Jets.
I know. Is that the theory? If you're a player, pick the team that is way down, you got the best chance to make the roster? I guess we'd have to know with each team how many calls they got from each player, how many calls they got from how many teams. But
yeah, and can't they get some money?
There's that.
So it was odd. 6 players, 3 with one team, 3 with the other.
Utes were a little more spread out. Browns, Bears, Commanders. Well, actually, 2 guys did go that'd be Bryson Barnes, former Ute, but more recently former Aggie is the other guy going to Cleveland as they collect quarterbacks.
Yeah, I thought it was funny that the Fano brothers now are in Cleveland.
Yeah, they're in Cleveland together. All right, DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
Pitch, Gurriel grounds it toward third, fair ball! It's past Machado, down the line, Vargas scores, here comes Carroll, he's going to be center out third, Machado's throw to the plate, not in time! Incredible!
3-1 on the way. Swing a high drive, deep right field for Tena. Hill going back to the track, and there it goes! It's a pinch hit home run for Jose Tena.
The pitch. And Goodman hits it high and deep towards right center field. It's in the gap, and it's into the bullpen. Hunter Goodman says goodbye for the 7th time this year. The Rockies own a 3-0 advantage in the 3rd.
Highlights from around Major League Baseball right there. The Rockies sweep the Mets 3-1 and 3-0. They have a great time. The Mets, well, they don't have the massive losing streak, but it's 2-15 or 2-16, and the losses are still just piling up for them. And our first managerial change of the year, PK, the Red Sox. Cora is out. You surprised he's the first one to go?
I was shocked. I still am not over it. He's owed $13.5 million. You only see that in college football. You don't see that level of money being out there for a big league manager. Obviously, man. That's stunning, the amount of money. And I don't know that that's going to make any difference, but what the heck? I mean, they won the World Series, and he's a bum now, and it doesn't make any sense. But that's what they got.
They were a playoff team last year, but another slow start, and they're on pace to miss the playoffs for the 4th time.
That's a lot of money,
years.
man.
So that's a big old check they got to write. But
yeah,
right.
They traditionally don't do that.
Yeah. Baseball went to Mexico. The Arizona Diamondbacks rally with 10 unanswered. 6 in the 7th, 4 in the 8th. They beat the Padres 12-7, split a 2-game series.
That's the game I was watching. I wasn't watching some first-round basketball. But you're the basketball guy, so I figured you got that covered. I didn't watch 1 second of that game where the crowd went wild. I was watching this baseball game.
Well, they didn't bring Miller in and snap his scoreless streak. They let other guys handle that.
They didn't have to.
Way too early to bring him in.
Well, they didn't have the lead in the 9th.
Nope.
They did
Gave it up.
Saturday. He hasn't given up a run in multiple countries in years.
It's true. It's been a heck of a ride. DJ and PK.
Hashtag RSL.
Shot up over the wall and in, and a goal, a beauty. Marco Royce, tremendous left corner. I don't think Cabral saw it. He didn't react. And in the 9th minute, an early goal for the LA Galaxy. Goes around, big jersey pull into the area. Defender to ground, heads are kind of in. Cut back ball, shot, goes to hit the post, off the keeper, and in. And RSL scores. Gozo off the post, off Marcinkowski's back and in. That goal was his third of the year. Now he's got a chance for his fourth. The brace and the potential game winner approaches it and beats him to the near side, and LA's got a 2-1 lead as Royce scores on the penalty. And the Galaxy beat Real Salt Lake 2-1 after the hot start. RSL now with back-to-back losses. After the game, Justin Glad, why do we even have VAR? They were really upset with multiple calls, but mostly Olatunji, what could have been a red card at the top of the box. They didn't get it, and the Galaxy win the game. RSL giving the ball away in the midfield again, PK. It's not as crisp. They're not as good on the ball, and that is why they gave up that free kick to open the game. It had like 5 turnovers in the first 10 minutes. One break after another.
I was in the car for a little bit in the first half listening. It's the first time I really listened to you on the radio for an extended period. I would like you to bring that same energy to the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Careful what you wish for.
No, I know what I wish for.
All right.
And yeah, if you feel like you've got a good point, and the Jazz, they made a great deal. I mean, yeah, that game they played, well, yeah, I would like a little bit more out of you.
Same thing. That would be so odd.
No, it wouldn't. Why do it for that when you got minuscule amounts of listeners compared to what we do every day?
Yeah, I think just studio shows are different than play-by-play, PK.
Why?
Because
it's all about energy,
it's weird,
emotion.
It's weird expectations.
That same thing you told me years ago. Now's the time, man. Bring it.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag NHL.
Up top to O'Brien. Now a slap shot. Uyghur scores! It's a Mac attack. Mackenzie Uyghur scores Utah's first home playoff goal. And it's 1-0 Mammoth with 7 to go in the first. 45 to go in the power play. Gunther, a one-timer, scores! Power play goal for the Mammoth. And it's 2-0. Dylan Gunther's got his second of the series. Everybody knew it was coming, and it did not matter. Here comes Schmaltz, veering in. That shot redirected in, and Krause scores! And Utah's top line has made its entrance to this series. Schmaltz finds Krause, and it's 3-0 off the rush.
The Utah Mammoth could do nothing wrong, PK. They were just dominant. A blowout win. Late goals make it look better for Vegas, but a 4-2 final, and now the Mammoth are up 2-1 going into Game 4 tonight. There are nights that you just can't do anything wrong, and it seemed like that was one of those nights for them.
Okay, well, that's great, but now you got to do it again. That was 3 nights ago, man.
A 3-1 lead tonight, that would be spectacular. A loss and 2-2, and you reset, and what was best of 7 became best of 5, becomes best of 3, and you're just grinding right to the finish line. A lot hanging in the balance tonight.
Yeah, I mean, there is every game, but yeah, for sure, this is the next one.
Series are starting to wrap up now. The Colorado Avalanche have advanced. They sweep the LA Kings, get a 5-1 win to close out LA. Now they await Minnesota or Dallas in the next round. The winner of the Vegas-Utah series gets either Anaheim or Edmonton, and the Ducks get an overtime goal to beat Edmonton 4-3 to win Game 4. So they are up 3-1. Anaheim pushing Edmonton right to the edge.
The brink, if you will.
Exactly. All right, we'll have more on the hockey coming up later this morning. We've got Jay Stevens joining us at 9 o'clock to get you ready for Game 4. Steve Cleveland is here talking hoops and NBA playoffs at 8 o'clock. DJ and PK, stick around. The question of the day is coming up next right here on The Zone.
Is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. No job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. Question of the morning. Are the Utah Mammoth converting you yet? Good question, PK. Wide range of answers, much wider than I would have been able to predict. Some of them, I think we could all predict. Tony, absolutely. Playoff hockey is a completely different animal. It's been so intense and fun. They are fast-tracking to 10 years of relevancy. I'm hooked. If they win a round, it's icing on a great second season in Utah. # Mammoth.
Yeah, not now. If you're up 2-1, I don't know that it's icing. I think that at this point, it's something that would be disappointed and would be that it ruins the season by any stretch. But it's not icing. Implies free money, house money. I don't go that far. I don't think they do either. It's not icing. This is now something well within the realm of reach and should be achieved.
It's not like they got one of the best teams in the league. They got a completely beatable opponent. They knew it for the last couple months of the season. They were eyeing it. So you're right. I think the goal at the start of the season was to make the playoffs, but at the end of the year, as all the matchups came into focus, this is winnable, and they know it, and they need to do it. They want to do it. And if they blow a 2-1 lead and lose a series and lose 3 out of 4 or 3 in a row, they are going to be disappointed, and they should be.
Yeah, I don't know that I would use the phrase blow a 2-1 lead. It's not.
What phrase would you like?
Lose the series.
Okay. If they don't capitalize on a 2-1 lead, how about that?
You have to see how the game, if it's 7-1 or something, a bunch of blowouts between now and the end of the series, that might be something. I don't really see the games being that much different. They're intense, and the energy is more, but the strategizing of the game seems to be, it's very similar to what you need to do over the long haul of an 82-game season in the NHL. And you get some more shots and more hits, and I understand that, but they're winning in the manner that we've seen them win. It's not like I'm seeing them win in a different manner. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that hockey is, watching it now, it reminds me more of the NFL. It's more intense. I mean, there's no question. The stakes are higher, and people bring it more.
Yeah.
But baseball and basketball have a bigger variance between what the regular season looks like and what the playoffs look like. We're seeing it in basketball, and in baseball you'll see it just the way they use pitching staffs. The 4th and 5th starters to pretty much just go to the bullpen and stay there. Occasionally teams use a 4th starter. You'll see starters come back in a big game in relief late in a series. Oh, they're bringing in their big name to pitch the 9th inning or pitch this extra inning. You would never see that in the regular season. So there's stuff that changes in those two sports, I think, a little more than hockey and football.
Yeah, intensity and everything always increases in the postseason. That's just a fact. And I don't care what sport it is. We had a bunch of high school stuff that'll get going here in the next couple of weeks. And
seniors laying on the ground crying when it's over if they lost.
Any form of do or die just leads itself to a much more sense of urgency that you don't have when you got 2 games the rest of the week and another series next week, whatever it might be. So, yeah, that's understood. Even in the most amateur city league softball or whatever it might be.
Yep. Well, I think Tony's story is a pretty common one. You watch a team win, you watch playoff action, you get hooked. That didn't surprise me that much. Nate has a take here. I converted the minute I heard the announcement they were moving from Phoenix. I'm on board. Sorry, not sorry, Coyote fans. He paused just long enough to feel bad for a group of fans losing their team, and then he was over it, and he was on board. And I think we saw that in that big welcome party that they had at the arena. You knew there were some people who were all in just watching that day. So I don't think Nate's that surprising. Scott, well, you could probably relate to this, Scott, to Scott's take, PK. You've lived a little bit of it, and I think we all know people like Scott. Scott, I'm an OG Coyotes fan who followed the team to Salt Lake City. There's enough people moving from Arizona to Utah and back and forth. This, for some Coyote fans, this probably did fall right in their lap. And look, they joined me here in Utah.
Oh, yeah, students that come up for college, whether it be BYU or UVU or Utah and whomever. And then, yeah, there's I mean, obviously there's a strong Latter-day Saint population in the Phoenix area, and not all, but many have some form of connection to Utah one way or the other. And so, absolutely, from that perspective, I think there's a natural connection there. Although you pretend that you don't follow the Chargers and you got all pouty that they moved a couple hours north.
I wouldn't put that in the past tense. I'm still relatively pouty. I'm not as pouty as I was, but I'm still pouty. Don't kid yourself.
I'm not.
Okay, good. I just want to be clear. I want everyone to understand. If you're a Charger fan who's pouty about it, you can come find me and we can pout together.
Whereas, I mean, if you live in Oceanside, they really didn't move that much farther from where you were anyway. So,
yeah, but I didn't live in Oceanside. So.
I know you didn't. Nor have you lived in San Diego in 40 years, for that matter.
That's fact also. That's fact.
But there are a lot of, as I say, people from the Phoenix area. And then with Allegiant opening up, I mean, I call it the Mormon missile in the sky, man. You get on that one.
You might be the only one. I haven't heard that expression very often.
Well, on that
you
one.
Want to do some marketing for them? Hey, guys, I got an idea.
Well,
hear me out.
It markets itself, really. I mean,
you fly from Provo to Mesa.
Yeah, exactly. You get on that one and you take that flight. You don't have to go to church the next Sunday because you hear everybody. Well, my son served here, and blah 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 blah. And it's funny, man. And then you have to pay for the overhead, so everybody jams in as much as they can into like pillowcases, so you don't have to pay for. Because if you put it in the overhead, it costs you $35 or something. So that place, I mean, I've taken that airline several times because obviously I go back. I'll be going back next month. My wife's nephew is getting married, and so I will be there. Well, I guess it's the first part of June, but anyway, you get the point. And so yeah, it seemed like every seat, every time I've been on that thing is packed. There was one time that we're going down. It was like on I want to say a Friday, I don't know, Thursday, long weekend. And they come on and they say, we're having a short delay on boarding. The flight's supposed to leave at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I said to my wife, this is trouble. She said, why? Why would you say that? They said short delay. Nobody announces you're going to have a short delay. If it's a short delay, you don't call it to everyone's attention.
You don't. 30-minute delay, you don't say a word.
Right.
They won't notice.
Yeah, exactly. And so then they come on and they say, new departure time.
Oh, boy.
8:30 p.m. Yeah. And you hear the collective groan. Right? So I was sitting and there was a BYU student right across from us in the chairs there by the gate. And, so I looked at her. I just went home. I went home, had a workout. We went out to eat. It's no big deal. Drove back down, 8:30, boom. We got there at, 7:30 or so, and the kid was sitting in the same spot. I said, you been here all this time? He said, yeah, man. I don't have a car. And my roommates wouldn't come get me.
There you go.
I said, well, what'd you do? Well, I had some schoolwork to do. I said, oh. But so here's a BYU student going back, and he sat there the entire 7 hours there waiting for him. Hopefully he used a good, nice advantage of the time and boned up on his schoolwork there. But, yeah, that place is packed. So I would assume that there'd be some fans like that young man. I don't know if he's young. I assumed he was, that would continue to keep that. And then it's not like hockey is still down the totem pole, right? Not that you want your team to leave. My sister's hairdresser was just beside herself when that thing all took place. It was coming up on 2 years now. And huge fan. But it seems like it wasn't that big of a crushing blow to the area. It seemed like they rolled with it a little bit more than the Sonics move into OKC or something. It just didn't seem as rooted and as connected as when we see some of these franchises move and we feel really bad. Like from me going way back, my father was crushed when the Brooklyn Dodgers moved to Los Angeles and then literally never really got over it. It bugged him forever and ever because he was a diehard Dodgers fan living, in the suburbs across the water there. And that was a huge deal. And I can only imagine. I've never really had a connection to a pro team. So with that in mind, I've never had a pro team move on me. But that would, if I did, that would really bug me. But why not just keep it? If you have that connection, if you live here, or if you have roots in both places, just pick it up and go with the Mammoth because it's so many of the guys are the same guys in the organization and so forth. Obviously, the owner's different, but they didn't really make wholesale changes that I'm aware of, managerial-wise.
Yeah, that's interesting. Were they there 25 years, ballpark?
I think a little bit longer.
Okay.
I want to say 96. You can look it up, obviously. So a little bit longer.
Because the Dodgers were in Brooklyn for 60 or 70 years.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
I'm pouty about the Chargers. That was 56 years.
And
the
plus
Sonics had a the Sonics, I think they started late 60s, early 70s, somewhere in there. So they had an awfully good run.
And they won a title, and they had a connection.
Yeah.
And in baseball at the time, that was the by far the country's most popular sport.
Yeah.
And then you had in that area, you had 3 teams. So you had, it was like a BYU-Utah thing, only magnified at the pro level, where where did you come down? Were you Giants? Were you Yankees? Were you Dodgers? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that led to a lot of, what might I say, interest and connection here. So it makes sense that you would continue. And now it's playoffs, man, and the Jazz aren't playing.
Yes.
So they can fill a hole. If you're looking for some kind of competitive hole, you talk about, ex-jocks will talk about, I play golf, man. It gets me my competitive fix. But as a fan, if you're looking for a competitive fix, this is the best that we have right now.
Michael is right on that point. It's just good to hear the Delta Center roar again.
Sure.
Just loving the passion.
Yeah.
We've got, here's another interesting take, and we got a couple of them here. But, Eric, they are non-existent in southern Utah. The Golden Knights own Washington County, and the coming Las Vegas NBA team in less than 2 years will probably take over too. How about that?
That's interesting.
I thought it was. I thought you would think so. You spent some time there. You probably, I don't know, when you're down there and you talk to people, what do you think? I don't know what you see also. Just, you go out to dinner and what are people wearing? Or what kind of license plates holder do you see, or license plate holders do you see when you drive into some parking lot?
St. George is an interesting community that way because it is undergoing a massive transformation in terms of people moving there and the building, and you see fastest growing areas and all that stuff.
So are they moving from Salt Lake City? Are they moving from Vegas or L.A., Phoenix? Where are they coming from? I think
the answer, maybe not Phoenix as much, but the other answers or the other options that you gave, I would check off and say yes and yes and yes and yes and yes. I know people, several people that cashed out in SoCal and then bought. I know someone who I knew in California and then moved back to the D.C. area because of work. It was a big shot, national security, and he used to carry this phone back when the phones were as big as a shoe.
Yeah.
In the 80s when I lived there, and he had to be on call at all times. And so the thing was like, it was like at least a size 6 of a shoe. You couldn't just stick it in your pocket.
Yeah, it weighed a few pounds, not ounces.
Yeah. And so he kept on having to go back to back east. He would go back like 3 out of every 4 weeks. And so finally, this is ridiculous. They moved back there. And he was older than I was. And then he retired. And I went back there, visited him in Virginia. Just a beautiful home. And they made so much money on that home that they actually bought 2 homes when they moved out to St. George. Bought 2. one for their they had an adult child with a family, and they live right next door to each other. Built a little fence to then climb over for the grandkids and so forth. And then they told me that they knew 5 firefighters in St. George who were L.A. County firefighters and are L.A. County firefighters, and they commute. You know, you got the 3 days on, 4 days off, 4 days on, 3 days off, you know, that type of thing. And so there was 5 of them, and they take turns driving. So you drive once every 5 weeks into L.A. County and work there. So you got all that. But plus you got, it'll always be a haven for retired people from the Wasatch Front moving down, obviously. But then you got younger couples who are looking for something different. My instinct, and I have no foundation, but just what I think and what I feel, is that in 10 years, it'll be Mammoth country.
There was talk of building some kind of arena down there as part of that massive complex at Black Desert.
Yeah.
Maybe playing some exhibition games, both NBA and NHL.
I think that's what they're looking for.
It'll be interesting to see if they actually go ahead and pull that off. I mean, they have so many plans there. We were down there once, and I was they were talking about the future of that, and I was asking, you got this, you got that construction, and the answer was, we're going to have construction projects here nonstop for at least 5 years. And there's all kinds of stuff to do. There's a resort across the street they own that'll get redone. There's some other stuff they're looking at purchasing. They've got to deal with the tribe, and they're looking at doing more golf courses out there, and who knows what else. I mean, they got plans. They just can't do them all at once.
I've had the opportunity to meet the owners, as you know.
Yes.
And I've spoken with them. I still text with one. He's probably listening. Hi, Parker. He told me he was a listener.
Shout out.
And they got big plans, no doubt about it. I was told when it first started, they told me it was an 8-year deal, but we're a couple years removed from that now.
Right.
So I think that as the Mammoth continue to grow, and the good thing about it is this isn't a one-shot deal. That's where if they should lose this series, you would still consider this a success. I mean, obviously, if they win tonight and go up 3-1 and then lose the series, that would be bitter. But I still think you'd have to step back and say that's a successful season because of the fact of the nature of the ages of some of the star players, and they're going to be around for a while. And they, by all accounts, like it and not looking to jump around, and they may get traded and whatnot. We'll see what happens there. But I think that they understand that this is a good core, and for them, they can't ask for anything more from a fan base. I mean, they're going to get. They talk about you. I've heard some of the guys. I'm starting to get recognized when I go around town.
Yeah.
And because you take. They're not as visible as basketball players.
They're wearing helmets like football players.
Yeah.
It makes them more anonymous.
Not entirely like a football helmet, and it's not as far away as the field is in football.
But it's doing the interviews.
It's doing the interviews,
yep.
and that's becoming more prominent. Mm-hmm. So I know for myself, now that my failed TV career is over, that when I got on television, I used to get recognized in St. George all the time. From the television stuff. I went to the county dump once with a friend of mine, and he's driving, right? And so we got a truck and got a bunch of stuff in the bed of the truck, and you pull up to the dump, and the lady checks you in because I think if you live there, you get a certain amount of free access to it.
Right.
I don't want to say free dumps. That doesn't sound right.
That sounds bad.
But you get the point. And the lady looks down, she bends down, and she says, "I know who you are." And I'm in raggy clothes because we're doing work, obviously.
Yeah,
and,
you're going to the dump.
And so that the prominence of the television had lifted my public profile enormously. And so now these guys are going to be seen, and I think they're going to enjoy it because it's mostly going to be positive. As any like mine, 99.999% of my interactions with the public have always been positive, and they're going to enjoy that, especially, man, if they move on to the second round. That's why tonight, man, going up 3-1, that isn't clinching, and plenty of teams in sports have come back from 3-1, but that's certainly a stronghold on the series. I don't want to say it's easy, but if it's as comfortable as it was on Friday night, then you're like, oh my gosh, what's Vegas got to be thinking? What's their psyche?
Are they a broken team?
Yeah.
You're right.
We'll have to see the complexion of the game.
Absolutely.
My thought would be it would be a little tighter, but not that it came easy for them. I'm not saying that, but it came so, just was so good.
It was comfortable.
And a 4-0 lead, and in a sport where then the other team is battling against the clock, so they got to beat two things. They got to beat you and the clock, and that's hard to do, particularly in that situation, which obviously Vegas didn't do it. But all the experts who know about it more than I do have all said they expect this series to be long. So even if the Mammoth lose tonight, okay, that's a stinker, but I don't think that it sways a huge advantage one way or the other.
It's best of 3, and we just start over.
Yeah.
I think that there are parallels between the Jazz and the Mammoth, and there's certainly the Mammoth have taken a step forward, so there needs to be a measure of satisfaction in that. And there are young guys. I mean, Cooley is 21, Gunther is 23,
right?
Paterk is 24, and they've got all these guys coming up. But it's like the Jazz. You can say, well, Ace Bailey is young, right? And they've got other multiple guys who are young. Kessler, if they re-sign him. Keontae George, assuming they re-sign him, right? They've got a lot of these draft picks. But you can't just kick the can down the road because you have guys who are in their prime right now. For the Jazz, it'll be Jackson and Markkanen next year. And so it's, these next 2-3 years are really critical while those guys are in their prime. And I think it's the same thing with the Mammoth. Sergachev is 27. He's really good. This is his prime. You got to capitalize it. Veggie in goal is 29 years old. This is his prime. You need to capitalize on it. So it's kind of like there's two groups. Yes, there are young guys who provide a promising, long-term future. And so the people earlier were saying, hey, they could do something for 10 years. Well, you're right. They could be relevant for 10 years.
I think they will be.
They could be a long way away from a rebuild. But there are guys they're leaning on right now. Casey Keller is 27. This is his prime. Let's go.
Clayton Keller, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Clayton Keller, yes.
Yeah.
This is his prime. Let's go.
But who are the best players? If it's the younger guys, then the older guys, as they age out, can be replaced easier if the best players are still approaching their prime.
Well, Clayton Keller led them in points this year, and I think Sergachev is clearly the top defenseman. So there's that. But at the same time, Cooley's getting better, and obviously got hurt this year, so that's going to impact the stats. But he looked really good when he's out there, and doesn't he look like a guy who's just like playoff hockey, like give it to me, straight into my veins, let's go. They had an interview with him after he scored the game winner, and it was just like he was dreaming of this his whole life. He's the kid in the candy store, and he's not waiting to get good. He's good now.
Sure, and I think anytime you have an opportunity, you need to take advantage of because there's no guarantees on anything.
Nope, no guarantee you'll be back. Do it now.
Yeah, and that's why tonight is critical. It's not a must-win for either team, but going up 3-1, especially for an upstart team that I think needs some positive reinforcement. Each step you take, you've cleared a barrier for the first time. Other guys have cleared it with other situations, as you mentioned with Sergachev. But this group, everything here has been together. And so I've always believed you win as a team, lose as a team. And it's hard for me to instill phony confidence in you. But if we have success, then the confidence that I try to instill in you no longer is phony. It's legitimate, and it becomes easier to accept, and your confidence grows, and my confidence grows, and we grow together. And I think that's what we can have here this very series if they get it done.
DJ and PK, a lot of really good responses to this question. The Mammoth converting you. There are so many answers aside from just yes or no. We will get to more of them coming up. We've also got NBA playoffs to get to. Steve Cleveland is going to join us at the top of the hour. And if you want more on this Game 4 matchup tonight, Jay Stevens is here at the top of the 9 o'clock hour. We'll be talking Mammoth and Golden Knights with him. Stay tuned. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Nobody brings you better coverage of the teams you're passionate about than these guys.
Try some more.
This is DJ and PK on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're talking basketball with Steve Cleveland in our very next segment. And PK, over the weekend, there was a little brouhaha, a dust-up. Was Nikola Jokić right to go after Jaden McDaniels for shooting the ball in the final seconds with Minnesota leading Denver by 14 points? Minnesota up 3-1 in that series. Didn't it feel a little performative to you? Because it did to me. It was a little bit like, well, he's not supposed to do that. You're supposed to be upset. I have a hard time believing they're really that upset. Maybe in the moment they are, but it's also you're down 3-1. You're looking for something. Isn't this straight out of Jordan's documentary? Like, make something up to get yourself fired up if you have to. Whatever. Find a little thing and make it big, or in Jordan's case, find nothing at all and just totally create it in your mind.
Yeah, but this is what they do. If you do that, that becomes an issue.
Gave him the perfect reason, the perfect excuse.
Whether
Clinton.
it's a playoff or it's a regular season or whatever, that when you do that, you should expect blowback.
Clinton says unwritten rules have to be followed. In baseball, you're looking at a 95-mile-an-hour fastball high and inside. In hockey, the gloves drop. Basketball has to be able to police their own.
Yeah, there's a reason why Mike Conley apologized for throwing the pass. In retrospect, he said he obviously implied he should have just held on to the ball.
Kyle, Jokić was justified for sure. The game was out of reach. The sportsmanlike thing to do was dribble it out. Jaden should have acted like he's been there before.
The one time I have an exception is if the bench is cleared and it's completely and totally bench guys. Now, not in that situation, but say like you're running a set, right? And you're going up against 5 guys who don't play much, and you got 5 guys out there who don't play much. I don't necessarily see a problem if they want to play to the final buzzer, but not if that was in situation where if that was a situation where you got one of those 5 bench guys cherry picking at the end of the floor, at the other end. I'm talking about you're in a half court situation and you're playing, right? Because those guys get an opportunity to play. We talked about it with the Jazz. Is that Will Hardy, Austin Ainge, and all these managers had an opportunity to evaluate all these players. So even though these games weren't thrilling and exciting in terms of trying to win at the highest level, the guys on the floor were trying to compete the best they could because they're trying to show not just, as Jerry Sloan would say, not just our organization, but every single one of them out there, right? Because that's what it's about. If you can stick in the league. Who really cares what team you're on if you're, a 10 through 15th guy on the roster? So I would have no problem if those guys were playing because they don't get to play a lot. And so take advantage of that. Not in that literal situation. I'm talking about with like 25 seconds to go, 30 seconds to go, under a minute. I have got no problem with them playing it out. But in this situation, you're talking to a player who plays a lot, talking about a player who plays a lot, and Jokić isn't going to have any of that. We've seen him, who was it? One of the Morris twins fouled him, and he didn't like it, and he went up and shoved him. So he'll do that. That's who he is, man. And I didn't think I would be something when it happened. I wasn't watching it live. I don't believe I was anyway. You see so much stuff, you can't remember what you're watching, and then you see it. Even if you didn't see it live, you can find it in 2 seconds. But as it's happening, I'm thinking, I'm not surprised. This is who he is. I almost expected his brothers to run down on the floor too.
I wouldn't want to mess with his brothers. You see pictures of them behind the bench glaring at people. You're like, I don't think I want any part of those 2 guys.
Yeah, I'm sure they know where some bodies are.
Brian, I remember when Malone did the same thing to the Warriors back in the day, and Greg Ballard threw a basketball and a fist into his face, and then a huge brawl with players and coaches, fans in the Salt Palace. He scored a layup. The Joker let him know it wasn't right. That's the game within the game. That's basketball. It's done.
Okay, so it was in the Salt Palace then. Good, because I don't remember it.
DeJuro says if the Nuggets come all the way back, somehow McDaniels may regret that basket.
Well,
look, if Denver comes back, aren't we going to blame the two injuries? They're missing two of their top 5 or 6 players here.
Yeah, certainly the one injury. I mean, nothing against DiVincenzo, but he's not Anthony Edwards. But he's a nice player.
He's not Anthony Edwards
nice player
at all.
He's a nice
player. But when you lose Edwards and then you lose, now you're moving 2 guys in.
Yeah, I mean, that's a significant blow. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
That's a double whammy. Yeah.
Yep.
And I think if they lose the series, I still don't expect them to lose the series. I think that teams can compensate in the short term for injuries. In the long term, especially when you only need one to win one of the next 3. I mean, Denver can go out there and shoot 32% in whatever one of these games, right? That's the nature of shooting, and they can lose the game, and then they would lose the series. But unless Anthony Edwards comes back in short order for the next series, I think they're toast, and that sucks for them.
Yep.
But yeah, as far as the series goes, yeah, I understand what you're saying. But in this thing, if you do that, you're going to have to expect some blowback. All the people in Phoenix and I've seen this on social media, several of these guys came off the bench, and they're still hung up on.
Yeah, I saw references to it.
Yeah.
And that, you can say that's Phoenix, that's emotion, it's their team. But I saw national people commenting and writing on it.
Yeah.
Like it's just a different era. It isn't letter of the law the way it was 19 years ago when the Suns, and they went right into all the details.
They cost Steve Nash an NBA title.
It very well could have. I mean, you never know what would have happened, but they looked like they were in a great spot and set up. And then, man, that's just getting the chair pulled out from under you. That was
because Ori.
That was as harsh a decision.
Cheap-shotted Nash into the scores table.
That was as harsh as a decision as we've seen out of any commissioner's office in any sport in the postseason.
And it was wrong.
Championship contender. There's not another championship contender that can point to a moment like that from a commissioner's office. You can go in a game and say that pass interference or that foul or whatever, but not from the league office.
You don't want referees deciding the game. The commissioner decided not just the series, but the NBA winner, because then the Spurs went out and swept the Nets.
The finals were a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
The finals were a foregone conclusion.
Yeah.
So, all right, DJ and PK. Well, we'll see. It's I thought it was going to be the Spurs and the Thunder in the conference final. I think I told you in December. I'm looking forward to the Spurs but there's always a chance something can happen. But the chance something can happen is getting taken away by injuries here. The Lakers have injuries. The Rockets have injuries. The Timberwolves have injuries. Most of the teams that you think maybe could pull an upset, maybe somehow they could take one of the top 2 down, they're shorthanded. They got no shot at that point. So,
and there might be more injuries to come. Who knows?
You never know. I mean, the Spurs had their scare. Now, Big Vic's back, but they had their scare for sure.
Yeah.
All right, DJ, we'll talk more hoops with Steve Cleveland next. We've got more hockey coming up at 8:30. We got more fascinating answers to that question. Are the Utah Mammoth winning you over? Everybody's got their own storyline, their own caveat, their own reason for getting in or getting out. We'll get to that at 8:30. Steve Cleveland's next. Stay with us.